Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, the June 6th. Me and Cian are about to get up and pack up the tent and camp and head back to Colorado Springs. We have some deliveries to do this evening. Gotta unpack the car from the Medieval Fest, get on some blogs, play, go watch a movie, and call it a day. We make breakfast burritos this morning and hit the road, maybe get a hike in somewhere on the way. We're both sunburned, very relaxed. Nice 2-day vacation after the Medieval Fest, and on with the work week. Alright, so we packed up our camp and we had breakfast burritos. Cian didn't really like them, so we're gonna go to, so he had French toast, we had a fire, and then we are now left the campsite, driving back to Colorado Springs. I think we go through Loveland, I'm not sure. We're gonna do some fishing and swimming on the way, and that is it. So Cian's trying to catch these big fish. You can see them all over the lake, or the pond. But they're not going for it. Like the perch he did yesterday at the same spot. Went right after the worms. But I don't know. Cian's doing his best though. He's fishing on the rock. There's lots of activity of fish in there.
Then the big snaky fish. It is the other.
Of course, with this smaller pole, if he did catch one of these big fish, chances are they would be tearing his pole into the ground.
Oh, I saw one.
I know, I see him too.
How we get here? I got any fish in there? The fish is not getting it.
So me and Cian tried our best for our first fishing break, road trip break, and large fish. I wonder if they were mullet. I'm not sure what kind they were, but they just ignored the fishing poles, even when we dangled in front of their faces. Slow moving and giant fish. Oh well, but we're back on our road. Here we go. What you say, Cian?
I want to catch those fish next time.
Absolutely. We just came down from the mountains and we're passing through the town of Lyons. Looks like a pretty artsy town. We'll have to come check that out sometime. Cian is anxious to get home. I'm offering him swim centers, but he's just like, no, I want to go home and play. I want to go home and play, says he. We are in Boulder, and we are passing through. I saw a swim park there, so I thought you would want to do it, but I guess not.
How much hours I was singing?
I don't know. How long were you singing?
That was a magic song.
You were singing a magic song. You want to sing it again? What's that?
I always do it. Only the magic twice.
Okay.
Proceed on US 36 East.
So why are you doing a video of me?
I don't want to hear the magic song.
magic song and chanting that he has. I'm not sure what the purpose of the magic is. What does it do?
There's good magic. Do its spirits. Wizards and everything.
Wizards?
And magic.
It is a long song. So we have made it to Denver. And, we're bypassing Westminster City Park swimming because Cian doesn't feel like swimming. He just wants to get home and play. So we're just gonna head on home. We're in Castle Rock and we are gonna go to Tokyo Joe's.
I don't need it, Cian. I don't need it.
What don't you need?
That metal thing I don't need so that I walk on the ground.
No? Good lunch at Tokyo Joe's. And I had the chicken peanuts sauté skewers and the peanut chicken rice bowl. Cian had chicken bento box for kids. And we had a good lunch. Now we're headed to Colorado Springs. So we got back home around 1 o'clock. Got to see Jesse and the kids. Forgot they were out at school. Unhooked the trailer, unloaded everything that I could from the shelf that broke, and then pulled out the mattress and then just loaded back in. Cleaned out the car somewhat and got things out of the coolers into the fridge. We took a shower and Cian's taking his bath. Yeah, so in about an hour going to be doing deliveries again for 2 hours. So it's been a busy day and it's good to be home. So we're back to the daily grind of delivery work. We only scheduled 2 hours today because we just got back from vacation and our merchant trip, and we want to make sure we're relaxed, have some time tonight for movies and cuddles and playing. So this first order is Burger King, so this new company took on Burger King, and oddly the total with tip is $6.66. So how's this for synchronicity? The $6.66 order was to a guy named Seth. That's kind of, either he planned it that way or it's an odd thing. As promised, I was going to tell more stories and break down myths, folklore, and tales as they relate to my adventures and travels. So the first, like today, was a delivery from Burger King to a guy named Seth, and go figure, with a pay value of $6.66, covering the delivery fee and tip.
And of course, the number 666 has an unlucky value, but given it was being delivered to an individual named after one of the desert gods, the Christians equivalent to their devil, Set, or Seth in the Egyptian pantheon, made it even that more interesting. The number 666 is the English translation of the number of the beast from the book of Revelations. However, since 2017, future research off the Papyrus 115, which is the oldest preserved manuscript of the Revelation, as well as one of the ancient sources like the Codex from Me Rescriptus, or the Greek text Novum Testamentum Grace, actually give the number of the beast as 616, not 666. Regardless of the right number, the history of ages with folklore and superstition building up energy behind the digits 666 carries the malicious power of a beast nonetheless. As described in Revelation 13, 15 to 18 is known as the Apocalypse of John, and in the Greek numbering translates to, "Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, to reckon, to vote, to decide." So it is said that one can interpret and identify the beast from a number by one of three means. Number one, using gematria to calculate the number of the world's leader's name in order to match it with the number of the beast. 2, associating the number of beasts as the duration of the beast's reign. And 3, corresponding symbolism for the Antichrist and anti-Christian power. In Thelema, it is the sum of the numbers inside the 6x6 magic square associated with the sun by some Kabbalists, astrologists, and numerologists who still use it today. The wizard Aleister Crowley claimed it to be a solar number and was the cataloging number he gave to the stele of revealing when he discovered it, which led to the writing of his Book of the Law. Thelemists also claim that the Hebrew letter Shin, written at the beginning and end of the Hebrew word for sun, conceals the number 666 because its shapes is like three vats conjoined together whose geometrical value is 6. And some note the abbreviation WWW may be interpreted as 666 for the Latin letter W evolved out of the Phoenician letter Wa, W-A-W, whose value is 6. So conspiracists claim the rise of the internet is one of the events by which the beginning of the age of Aquarius has been marked. Through gematria, preterist theologians support 666 as the equivalent of the name and title of Nero Caesar, who from 54 to 68 CE was one of the world-dominating leaders, whose name was written in Aramaic and be valued at 666. So some Protestant scholars claim that the Revelation 13 speak of a future prophetic event where all who dwell on earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundations of the world. Gematria also claimed the beast was linked with the obscure Latinization of the Greek transliteration of the Arabic name Muhammad, although Catholic bishops and scholars disagree. From Nero and Roman stamping of coins, theorists claim the mark of the beast on the world currency depicts the devil's dominance, and futurists' views say the rise of the supernatural currency like the euro could be a hallmark of the end of times, and the mark of the beast will be a sign on the forehead or on the right hand. This, in their view, addressed the second coming of Christ and similar events in the time's end. To this view, the extent of difficulties of the Antichrist will use to force religious synchronism in the name of counterterrorism and world economic stability to enable the creation of the currency. Some also see it as object with the functions of a credit card, like the RFID microchip implants. Some Christians believe that the implantation of these chips may be the imprinting of the mark of the beast as prophesied to be a requirement for all trade, a precursor event of the second half of the book of Revelation. The Jehovah Witnesses believe that the number represents world's unified governments in opposition to God. The beast having a human number that represented governments are of human origin rather than spirit entities, and identifies with being a gross shortcoming and failure in the eyes of Jehovah, in contrast to the number 7, which is seen as symbolizing perfection. However, Kabbalistic Judaism claims 6 as the perfect number, and some of its multiples like 36, 72, and 216 represent the creation and perfection of the world. The world was created in 6 days, and there are 6 cardinal directions: north, south, east, west, up, and down. It is also the numeric value of one of the letters of God's name associated with the Sephira or the Tiferet, representing harmony, beauty, and cosmic balance. The number 666 is feared through superstition, though, and there is a phobia around the irrational fear of the appearance of the number called hexaphobia, meaning fear of 666. Some examples of this is like in 1989, Nancy and Ronald Reagan moved their home to the Bel Air section of LA after the 1988 elections that had the address of 666 St. Cloud Road, and they changed it to 668 St. Cloud Road. In 2003, U.S. Route 666 in New Mexico was changed to U.S. Route 491, to which New Mexico stated, "The devil's out of here and we say goodbye and good riddance." Hollywood and film industry propelled the superstition more, with films like The Omen, Pulp Fiction, Doom Generation, and A Dazed, Bedazzled, and The Phantom of the Opera. Many businesses will bypass or skip the number for fear of bad luck. In 2015, U.S. Representative Joe Barton changed the legislative bill from 666 to 702, and in 2017, the flight AY666 from Copenhagen to Helsinki departed for the last time under that number and changed as the flight had been scheduled 21 times on Friday the 13th since 2006, now being called Flight AY954. So the name Seth is, in Christianity and Islam, is the third, is the name of the third son of Adam and Eve, and many equivalent today with the Egyptian deity Set or Seth. It means placed or anointed. Seth was the brother of Cain and Abel. He was born after Abel's murder, and Eve believed God appointed him as a replacement of Abel. According to Genesis, Seth was born when Adam was 130 years old, as a son in his likeness and image. 1 Chronicles 1-3 or Genesis 5:4-5 claim Adam fathered sons and daughters before his death at age 930 years. Seth lived to the age of 912, it is believed. Fables speak of a tale when Seth and Eve traveled to the doors of the garden to beg for some oil from the tree of mercy, or the tree of life. On the way, Seth was attacked and bitten by a wild beast, which goes away when ordered by Seth, making him the commander of wild beasts. Michael refused to give the oil to them at the time, but promised to give it to them at the end of time, when all flesh will be raised up in the delights of paradise, given to the holy people, and God will be in their midst. When they returned to Adam, he stated, "What hast thou done? Thou hast brought upon us great wrath, which is death." Seth is also seen by some as the ancestor of Noah, and hence the father of all mankind, as all other humans had perished in the great flood. Gnosticism sees Seth as a replacement given by God for Abel, and before Adam's death, Adam gave Seth secret teachings that would become the Kabbalah. In Antiquities of the Jews, Josephus refers Seth as being the most virtuous and excellent character, having his descendants invent the wisdom of the heavenly bodies, building the pillars of the sons of Seth, as 2 pillars inscribed with many scientific discoveries and inventions, such as astronomy, based on Adam's prediction that the world would be destroyed at one time by fire, and another time it would be destroyed by a global flood, in order to protect the discoveries and to be remembered after this destruction. One of the translators, William Whiston, in the 17th and 18th century, stated that Josephus may have mistook Seth for Sesostris, the king of Egypt, the erector of the pillar in Syrian. This pillar of knowledge would have 2 versions. One would be made of brick and the other one of stone, so that if a brick pillar was destroyed, the stone one would remain. It is believed, though, that no pillars of Seth would have survived the deluge. Christianity recognizes Seth is one of the holy forefathers in the calendar of the saints and includes him in the genealogy of Jesus according to Luke 3:23-38. A Gnostic sect known as the Sethians, possessing Judaic-based faith strongly influenced by Platonism, venerate Seth as godlike. They also see the offspring or posterity of Seth to hold superior elect within human society. As the Egyptian god, Seth or Set, aka Sutesh, Sutek, Sutek, or Suti, is a god of the desert storms, god of disorder, of violence, and foreigners in the ancient religions of Egypt. In ancient Greek, he is known as Seth. He once had a positive role where he accompanies the god Ra on the solar boat to repel Apep, the serpent of chaos. But then he is given a Cain-like role as a usurper who killed and mutilated his own brother, Osiris. Isis then reassembled Osiris's corpse, resurrecting Osiris long enough to conceive his son and heir Horus. Horus then sought revenge upon Set, and throughout history, tales of their battles ensue. Set marries Nephites and fathered Anubis, and also is known to have had intermarital affairs with Anat and Astarte. He is depicted as a nomadic creature called the Set animal by Egyptologists, a beast resembling no known creature, although composed of traits like features of an aardvark, an ass, a jackal, or a fennec fox with a curved snout, long rectangular ears, a thin forked tail, a canine body, sprouted fur tufts in an inverted arrow shape, and or with a human body. The earliest depictions of him date to the pre-dynastic period. Even the earlier depictions could equivalent him with a mace head of the king scorpion with a head and forked tail Set animal clearly present during the proto-dynastic period. The rivalry between Horus and Set are complex, and they begin when Horus challenges Set for the throne of Egypt. The conflicts are very violent and often judged upon by the Ennead, Geb, Ra, Atum, and Thoth, lasting over the 80 years. Besides mutilation, decapitation, harpoons, and dismemberment, in a fragmentary Middle Kingdom papyrus, Set sexually abuses Horus with the intent of degrading him, but involving homosexual desire, keeping with one of Set's major characteristics of being forceful, potent, and indiscriminate sexuality. Set was demonized after Egypt's conquest by several foreign nations in the Third Intermediate and Late periods. As a god of foreigners, he became associated with foreign oppressors, including the Syrians and the Persians, and thereby villainized. Set was the killer of Osiris, and the Greeks later associated him with Typhon, a monstrous, evil force of raging nature, and he was no longer viewed as a heroic chief deity who once protected Ra. He is often today seen as a trickster deity, a god of disorder, resorting to deception and achieving bad ends. He is similar to the Norse god Loki. Today, many fundamentalist Christians and some Satanists equivalent him to the devil.
So we got back from deliveries, and Prince is excited to be playing with the kids again, with Princess Anya and Princess Theron and Xavier Cian. Unfortunately, his mom called and he wasn't being very nice to her, not wanting to talk because he's too excited about playing with the kids. And Anya is creating a beautiful puppy room by pressing in these flower petals into the stump.
But what about the green stuff?
Well, yeah, what's the green stuff?
Oh, just from the green stuff.
Yeah. And Cian brought all his robots and monster and truck for this stump. Cian, don't pick your nose.
I'm allowed to pick my nose.
So why weren't you talking to your mommy, Cian?
Wait, Leaf. You can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose.
That's true.
Yep. so he can pick his nose. That's all.
So what are you doing, buddy?
Watching them. You just bang it.
So tonight we're taking it easy. We're just gonna watch a movie and go to bed early. We have deliveries tomorrow.
Little puppy.
Good night.
Don't wake up, little. The graveyard is? No, it's spooky. Sometimes you're not allowed to use flashlights.
Were we playing Ghosts in the Graveyard? How do you play that?
So, pretend I'm hiding right here and everybody's looking for me. And pretend little kid find me and yell, "Ghost in the graveyard!" And then you all go running and pretend yeah, Ghost in the graveyard!
So tonight we played a kids game called Ghost in the Graveyard. It was a playground game that's equivalent to tag and hide and go seek, but it's often done at night with a player tagged and tag you're it being the ghost. It's also a variant of Cops and Robbers and Smee. They're from A.M. Burrage's version called Smee in his 1931 ghost story of the same name. The cops who are in pursuit of the robbers, the team being chased, arrest the robbers by tagging them and putting them in jail. The robbers can stage a jailbreak by tagging one of the prisoners without getting tagged themselves. So the game ends if all the robbers are in jail. In Ghost in the Graveyard, players choose a ghost who goes and hides in the playground. The other players gather around the base and count up to 20 or 25 while the ghost hides. It is often played at night. The players shamble to find the ghost. When identifying the ghost's location, they race back to the base to be safe, while the ghost scrambles to tag one of the players on their way back to the base, thereby making that player it or the next ghost.
Here was the spooky. Once of time, the person, somebody go in the spooky castle, and then it was ghosts and everything, and vampires, and demons, and then the little boy tried 1 and 1, and the fall it killed it away, and that is him. All the demons killed all the people, and all the everything was camping into the woods. That's a really sad story, not a scary one. Actually, I'm never.
Get back in here right now!
I mean, was a little girl, and it just goes in the spooky woods, and it was ghosts and everything, because it was camping, and his daddy was working for it, and the mommy was staying at camp getting warm, and the daddy tried to work for him, and then him died, and the other one got dead, and then the mommy had to go in the tent like sleep, and he doesn't know where the other ones is, and it's scary, but it's don't go near it, but stay away from it, and it's have to go away, and never come back from the spooky forest. And it was everything in the world died. It's everything in it. The end.
Hey guys, look.
Turn on the light.
The darkest night of the The darkest night of the year is Halloween. No, it's not. Ghost. And then you have to run, but the person who healed ghost in the graveyard cannot be attacked by the ghost. And the first one to be attacked by the ghost is you.
Guys, ghost in the graveyard!
ya! Xavier, go slow.
So recap to the night. We all went to the playground to play Ghost in the Graveyard, and then Cian got really tired, so he stopped playing. And then we went to back to the houses, said goodnight, and Cian and me cuddled to watch Thor Ragnarok, which was a good movie. We've seen it before, but it's always good to rewatch. And then Cian passed out right afterwards. I watched the most recent version of The 100, which was good, but at a cliffhanger, of course. And then I passed out in the middle of that. So that was the night.